Perhaps lately you have been noticing a certain person appearing again and again in your life, in conversation, in dreams, in unexpected places. And perhaps you have wondered, is this coincidence, or is God trying to tell me something? The truth is, nothing in the divine tapestry of life is without purpose. Every encounter, every reunion, every seemingly random meeting is woven with the threads of intention. When God keeps confirming the same person as your spouse, it is rarely through one grand sign. It is through a series of gentle confirmations, each one whispering, "This is the path. Walk it with trust." I remember many years ago, a young man came to me in great confusion. He had met a woman who felt strangely familiar to him, as though he had known her in lifetimes past. She would appear in the most unexpected places, at a friend's gathering, in the same cafe on the same day, even once sitting beside him on a bus without either of them planning it. He asked me, "Master, how do I know if this is God's will or simply coincidence?" And I told him, "The divine speaks quietly, but persistently. When the message repeats without your effort, pay attention." The first undeniable sign is repetition without your control. If you find yourself meeting the same person under circumstances you did not arrange, the universe may be nudging you toward a connection that is part of your higher path. Love, when destined, is not forced. It flows. The second sign is a deep sense of peace in their presence. This is not the racing excitement of infatuation, but the calm reassurance that says, "I am safe here." This peace is God's language, for where there is divine alignment, there is no need for fear. And the third sign is growth. When you meet someone sent by God, you do not remain the same. You begin to change, gently but surely, into the best version of yourself. You find courage where you once felt doubt, patience where you once rushed, and forgiveness where you once held grudges. But I must also tell you, God's confirmation is not always convenient. Sometimes this person may appear when your life is in chaos, when you are healing from wounds, or when the timing seems wrong. That is when faith is tested. We must learn to wait without losing hope, to trust without demanding proof. One of my own teachers once said to me, "The divine loves to hide blessings inside trials. The heart that can see through the storm will inherit the rainbow." And so it is with destined love. It will not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. In the monastery, we often meditate on a single question. Is my heart moving toward love or away from it? For when God sends the right person, your heart moves closer to Him through them. So my dear friend, if you have been seeing these signs, do not rush to act. Sit with them. Pray over them. Meditate upon them. Let the divine weave the next step for you. For love blessed by heaven will come to you not in the rush of desperation, but in the rhythm of destiny. We will continue our talk in the next part, where I will share 4 more undeniable signs that God is confirming your spouse, including the one sign that most people overlook, yet it is the most powerful of all. As we continue our journey, my dear friend, let us walk deeper into this path of understanding. In our last conversation, I shared with you 3 undeniable signs that God is confirming someone as your spouse. Repetition without your control, a deep sense of peace in their presence, and the gentle yet powerful way they inspire your growth. But the divine, in His compassion, often gives us more than 3 confirmations. For He knows that the human heart sometimes needs more light before it steps forward in faith. Today, I will share with you 4 more signs, and I urge you not to listen with only your ears, but with your soul. The 4th sign is silent understanding. When God sends the right person, you will often find that words are not always necessary. You may simply look into each other's eyes and know what the other feels. This silent understanding is not born from years of shared experiences. It is a recognition, as if your souls remember one another. I once knew a couple who met under the strangest of circumstances. During a storm, sheltering in the same small shop. They spoke very little, yet something passed between them, something unspoken, but undeniable. Months later, when they met again, they laughed at how they had both thought of each other almost every day since that rainy night. That is the quiet work of the divine. The fifth sign is shared spiritual alignment. This does not mean you both have the exact same religious practices or identical spiritual language, but it does mean your hearts bow to the same source. When your values, your moral compass, and your vision of life point in the same direction, you can walk the same road without pulling each other into different paths. A union blessed by God is not just two people walking side by side, it is two souls walking toward Him together. The sixth sign is that this person appears in moments of decision or transition. The timing of their presence often coincides with moments in your life where you are standing at a crossroad. They may appear when you are about to give up, when you are starting a new chapter, or when you are being tested in ways you never imagined. Their arrival is like a lantern at midnight, not forcing your steps, but giving you enough light to take the next one. I recall a young woman in our community who was unsure whether to move to a new city for work. Just as she was about to decline the offer, she met a man in a public library who spoke gently about the very city she was considering. He encouraged her in ways he didn't even realize. She took the job, and months later discovered that he, too, had moved there. Sometimes the divine uses a person to bridge you to your own destiny. The seventh sign, perhaps the most profound, is that their presence draws you closer to God. This is the sign many overlook because they are focused only on attraction, compatibility, or shared interests. But the real confirmation is this. When you are with them, do you pray more sincerely? Do you feel more grateful? Do you begin to notice the beauty of the world again? Love that is truly divine will never distract you from God. It will make you hunger for Him more. That hunger is a sacred gift, for when two souls come together in His name, their love becomes a form of worship. Monk pauses, looking directly into the camera with a kind smile. My dear friend, perhaps as I speak, someone's face is coming to your mind. If that is so, do not rush to conclusions, but neither should you ignore the quiet pull of your heart. God's confirmations are not meant to create anxiety, but to bring you into alignment with His plan, and His plan always unfolds in perfect time. We have now spoken of 7 undeniable signs, yet there is still more to share. In our next time together, I will tell you the 2 rare signs that very few people talk about. Signs that will test your patience, deepen your faith, and reveal whether this person is truly sent by God or simply passing through your life. My dear friend, we have walked through 7 signs, each a thread in the divine's pattern for your life. Yet, there are signs more subtle, more hidden, signs that require patience to see. Most people overlook them because they are not always pleasant, but often it is in the more challenging signs that God reveals the depth of His work. The 8th sign is the testing of your faith through separation. When someone is truly meant for you, there may come a time when life pulls you apart, not to break the bond, but to strengthen it. In the monastery, we say, a tree with deep roots can endure the strongest winds. Sometimes God allows a period of distance so that both souls can grow individually before uniting fully. I remember a man who met his beloved during a pilgrimage. Their connection was immediate, but circumstances pulled them to different corners of the world. For 2 years, they saw each other only rarely. Yet, in those years, both learned lessons they could not have learned together. When they finally reunited, they discovered that their love had not weakened. It had matured, like wine that deepens in flavor with time. Separation is not always a sign of loss. It can be God's way of preparing both hearts for a greater purpose. The 9th sign is that their presence awakens a higher calling in you. This is different from simple personal growth. This is when the person God sends becomes a mirror that reflects back not just who you are, but who you are meant to become in service to the world. You may suddenly feel called to start something meaningful, a project, a mission, an act of kindness, inspired by their influence. One of the brothers in our monastery once told me of the woman he eventually married. Before they met, his life was quiet, ordinary, and safe. But her courage and compassion stirred something in him. He began helping orphan children in nearby villages, something he had never considered before. He said to me, "Her love did not make me escape into a dream. It made me wake up to my purpose." When God sends the right person, they don't just fill your heart. They expand it so that it can hold the needs of others. Monk leans forward slightly, speaking with deeper sincerity. Perhaps as you hear these signs, you realize that the person in your life is not there to simply make you happy. They are there to help you fulfill your destiny. And perhaps, too, you understand why patience and faith are required, because such unions are not built overnight. But my dear friend, knowing the signs is only one part of the journey. The greater challenge is learning how to respond to them without fear, without forcing the Iwe. The human heart, when it sees a blessing approaching, often wants to run toward it. But love ordained by heaven is not a race. It is a garden. And a garden does not bloom because we pull on the flowers. It blooms because we tend the soil. Give it water and let the seasons do their work. The danger of rushing divine timing, I have seen many souls who recognized the right person, yet lost the blessing because they could not wait. They tried to force conversations before the other was ready, to push commitments before the foundation was strong. This is like building a temple on wet clay. Beautiful in the moment, but it will not stand the storms. When the signs are clear, but the timing feels slow, it is often because God is still working on you, or on them, or on the world around you so that your union will be able to serve its greater purpose. Remember, the fruit that ripens too early is often bitter. The fruit that waits for its time is sweet and nourishing. The wisdom of preparation. If you sense that someone is your destined spouse, the most powerful thing you can do is not to chase them, but to prepare yourself for the life you will share. In the monastery, we often say, "You do not wait for love, you become ready for it." Read deeply, pray sincerely, heal the wounds of your past so they do not bleed into your future. Strengthen your patience, for love without patience becomes control, and control is not love. The art of surrender. One of my teachers taught me a lesson I carry to this day. He said, "If you can hold the vision of your blessing in one hand and let it go, with the other you will never lose it." This is surrender, not giving up, but trusting God's care more than your own. It is saying, "Lord, I am ready to receive, but I am also ready to wait because you see what I cannot." When you live like this, peace takes the place of anxiety. You stop watching the clock. You stop comparing your journey to others. And then, without you forcing it, the right moment arrives, and the blessing stands before you, whole and beautiful. Monk leans closer, eyes filled with both kindness and certainty. My dear friend, the signs we have discussed are sacred, but they are not meant to be clutched tightly in fear. They are meant to be carried gently in faith. For if God has chosen someone for you, they will not pass you by. No distance, no obstacle, no delay can erase what He has written. In our final conversation together, I will share how to recognize the moment when divine timing has arrived, when the season shifts, when the waiting is over, and when you can step forward into the love God has prepared for you. I will also offer you a meditation and prayer to align your heart fully with this journey, so you walk not with doubt, but with deep, unwavering trust. My dear friend, we have spoken of signs, of patience, and of preparation. But perhaps the question you have been holding close to your heart is this: how will I know when the waiting is over? Recognizing the moment of divine arrival. When divine timing has arrived, there is a shift, both in you and in the world around you. You will notice that conversations begin to flow naturally, without effort. Obstacles that once blocked the connection begin to dissolve quietly. What once felt like uncertainty now feels like a gentle yes whispered by the universe. But here is the secret. The moment often arrives when you have stopped clinging to it. It is when your heart is at peace, when you have surrendered the outcome to God, that the blessing appears, sometimes in a way that feels almost ordinary, yet fills your soul with extraordinary peace. It is not a dramatic trumpet or a blazing sign in the sky. It is a stillness, a quiet confirmation, like the way dawn appears, not all at once, but so gently that you realize it only when the world is already bathed in light, the confirmation from within. When the right moment comes, You will not need to convince yourself or anyone else. The confirmation will be felt deep within, and it will align with both your heart and your faith. The fear will be replaced with clarity, and the doubts will lose their voice. This does not mean there will be no challenges ahead. Every path worth walking has its stones, but you will feel steady enough to take the steps, because you will know you are not walking them alone. A prayer for alignment. Before we close today's conversation, I would like to guide you through a short prayer and meditation. You may close your eyes if you wish. Take a deep breath. Release the weight of your thoughts. Feel the ground beneath you. It holds you, just as God's plan holds your life. Now silently say in your heart, Lord, I trust you. I trust your timing. I trust the path you have written for me. Prepare my heart to give love, to receive love, and to honor you through love. Let the person you have chosen for me walk toward me in your perfect time, and let me walk toward them with faith, peace, and joy. Breathe in that trust. Breathe out all anxiety. And remember that in God's time, there is no delay, only perfect arrival. Monk smiles warmly, looking directly at the listener. My dear friend, you now know the signs, the patience, and the peace that come before the moment of divine arrival. Yet there is one final truth I wish to share. A truth about love's ultimate purpose and how recognizing your destined spouse is not the end of the journey, but the beginning of a greater mission. We will speak of that in our final conversation. Together, a conversation where all these threads will weave into one tapestry, revealing the highest meaning of love blessed by heaven. My dear friend, we have walked together through signs, patience, preparation, and arrival. Today, we bring all these pieces together to see the whole picture. You see, finding the person God has chosen for you is not the destination. It is the beginning. The signs are not merely to point you to love. They are to prepare you for the kind of love that reflects God's nature itself, love's greater mission. True divine unions are never just about two people making each other happy. Happiness will come, yes, but the purpose is far greater. The right spouse is sent not only for companionship, but for partnership, to walk a path together that blesses the world around you. I have seen couples whose love inspired generosity in their community, others whose union healed wounds in their families, and some whose shared faith brought hope to those who had none. The one God chooses for you will not just fill your home with warmth, they will help you bring light into places that have long been in shadow. The threefold blessing. When love is from God, it blesses in three directions. It blesses you by helping you grow in faith, humility, and joy. It blesses them by giving them a safe and loving space to become their truest self. It blesses others by radiating kindness, patience, and grace beyond your home. If your union only blesses one or two of these, it may still be good. But when it blesses all three, you have stepped into something sacred, carrying love with reverence. We live in a world that often treats relationships like temporary comforts, something to keep while it is easy, and let go when it is not. But the love God sends must be carried with reverence. This means protecting it through prayer, nurturing it with patience, and strengthening it with acts of service. Remember, the enemy of divine love is not distance or time, it is neglect. Even the strongest tree must be watered, a final prayer and blessing. Let us close our journey together with a blessing for you and the one God is preparing for your life. Lord, I thank you for the listener before me. You know their heart, their journey, their longing. Bless them with patience to wait for what is holy, with wisdom to recognize what is true, and with courage to walk in the path you set before them. When you bring their destined one into their life, may their love honor you, serve others, and shine as a light in this world. Let them never forget that in you, love is not only a gift, it is a calling. This is where our conversation in this form ends, but your journey continues. Watch for the signs, prepare your heart, trust His timing, and when love arrives, walk into it with both gratitude and purpose. And remember, the greatest confirmation that someone is truly your spouse is not just in how much you love them, but in how much closer you both walk toward God together.